Kai Valmont gritted his teeth as the acrid scent of burnt ozone filled the air. Sweat dripped down his brow, stinging his eyes, but he didn't dare wipe it away. His finger tightened around the trigger of his plasma rifle, the weapon humming with power in his hands. The battle raged on around him, human resistance fighters clashing with the Xerathians in a desperate struggle for survival. "Martinez, Gray, fall back and cover our flank," Kai barked into his communicator, his voice taut with urgency. He felt the weight of every life under his command, each one precious in these dark times. "Understood, sir," Captain Hugo Martinez replied, a flash of determination in his brown eyes as he glanced at his friend. Lieutenant Lila Gray gave a curt nod before sprinting to her position, her fingers deftly adjusting the settings on her makeshift energy shield. "Brace yourselves! Here they come!" Kai warned, his steely gaze locked onto the approaching wave of Xerathian soldiers. Their exoskeletons glinted in the dim light, their movements unnerving and efficient, like insects scuttling across a battlefield. It was a sight that would have sent most humans running in terror, but not the resistance. As the skirmish intensified, Kai's tactical prowess shone through. He directed his forces with precision, anticipating the Xerathians' every move. "Flank them from the left," he ordered, his voice a blend of authority and confidence. "Hold them off while we regroup." Captain Hugo Martinez and Lieutenant Lila Gray fought side by side, their loyalty to Kai unshakable. They trusted him implicitly, knowing that he was the key to humanity's last hope. Amidst the chaos of battle, a crackle of static erupted in Kai's earpiece. "Kai, this is Dr. Vance," came the voice of the reclusive scientist. "I've got a lead on my project, and I think it could be the game changer we need." "Can it wait, Doctor?" Kai asked, his focus divided between the conversation and the hail of plasma bolts whizzing by. "Every second counts, Valmont," Dr. Alice Vance replied, her voice strained, clearly aware of the gravity of their situation. "Meet me at the rendezvous point as soon as you can. We've found something that could turn the tide against the Xerathians." Kai's heart raced at the prospect of a way to defeat their alien oppressors. He glanced around the battlefield, weighing the risks of leaving his comrades behind. But if there was even a chance that Dr. Vance's discovery could save humanity, he had to take it. "Martinez, Gray, hold the line," Kai ordered, urgency clear in his voice. "I have to meet with Dr. Vance. Keep our people safe until I return." "Understood, sir." "We won't let you down," Hugo responded, his tone firm and resolute. Lila added a silent nod, her blue eyes filled with determination. Taking a deep breath, Kai sprinted across the battlefield, weaving through the chaos as he made his way towards the hidden laboratory. The fate of humanity rested on his shoulders, and he could not fail them now. Kai Valmont's heart pounded in his chest as he slipped through the shadows of the hidden laboratory, the cold steel walls reflecting the dim emergency lighting. The room had an eerie silence about it, save for the hum of powerful machines. He knew that at any moment, his team would have to face the Xerathian forces guarding the secret weapon. "Be ready," Kai whispered into his communicator, his voice tense with anticipation. "We're nearing the heart of the lab." "Copy that," replied Lieutenant Lila Gray, her voice barely audible over the static. "We'll be right behind you." As Kai rounded a corner, he spotted a group of Xerathians led by Commander Valaris Relin. Their armored forms stood like statues, their eyes scanning the room for any sign of intrusion. Kai clenched his fists and nodded to his comrades, preparing for the inevitable clash. "Commander Relin," Kai called out boldly, stepping out from the shadows. "We've come for Dr. Vance's weapon, and we won't leave without it." "Is that so?" Valaris sneered, his eyes narrowing. "I expected more creativity from the human resistance. No matter, you will fail, just like all your previous attempts." "Enough talk," snapped Kai, drawing his weapon. "This ends here." The air crackled with tension as the two sides charged at each other, weapons clashing and sparks flying. In the chaos, Kai noticed Dr. Vance's device, an intricate machine pulsing with eerie energy. It was clear they were fighting for something far greater than any of them could comprehend. "Watch out!" shouted Xerath Torin, one of Valaris's men, as a stray shot slammed into the device. The room erupted in a blinding flash, sending everyone sprawling to the ground. "Damn it! What happened?" Kai shouted, struggling to regain his footing as a deafening roar echoed through the laboratory. The walls trembled, and he could feel a presence more ancient and terrifying than anything he had ever encountered. "Valmont!" gasped Dr. Vance from her hiding spot, her voice tinged with fear. That energy pulse. It's awakened the Devourer. Devourer? Valaris questioned, his brow furrowed in concern. An ancient cosmic horror, one whose appetite for destruction knows no bounds. We must act quickly before it consumes everything in its path. Then we must work together, Kai declared, his eyes locked onto Valaris's. We are enemies now, but if we don't join forces, there won't be a tomorrow for any of us. Valaris hesitated, his gaze flickering between the humans and his own soldiers. Finally, he nodded. I do not trust you, human, but we have no choice. We must find a way to stop the Devourer. Agreed, said Kai, extending his hand. Let's put our differences aside and focus on the greater threat. As they clasped hands, the alliance between humans and Xerathians began, a fragile bond born out of desperation. With time running out, they sought out Professor Nara Kyle, an expert on ancient civilizations and cosmic horrors like the Devourer. Professor Kale, Kai implored, we need your knowledge. There must be a way to banish the Devourer. Indeed, Nara replied, her voice cold and distant. There exists an artifact capable of such a task, but it will not be easy to obtain. Nothing worthwhile ever is, muttered Kai, steeling himself for what lay ahead. Tell us where to find it, and together we will save our worlds. Kai Valmont stood on the bridge of his commandeered Xerathian warship, watching as the Devourer's tendrils unfurled towards a populated world. The once tranquil blue planet was now marked with fiery red streaks, like veins pulsing with dread. He clenched his fists, knowing that this would be their first real test as an alliance. Captain Martinez, Kai said, coordinate the evacuation of the planet's inhabitants. We must save as many lives as possible. Understood, Commander, Hugo replied, immediately barking orders to his crew. Professor Kale, Kai addressed Nara, we need your help deciphering any clues about the artifact we're supposed to find. If it exists, it's our only hope against the Devourer. Very well, Nara agreed, her voice devoid of emotion. I will do my best. As the evacuation efforts began, the Alliance faced fierce resistance from both the Devourer's forces and remnants of Xerathian loyalists. Kai led the charge, trusting in his tactical prowess and the loyalty of his comrades. Xerathians incoming! Shouted Lila Gray, her voice strained as she fired at the approaching enemies. Stay focused! We can't let them prevent the evacuation, Kai ordered, cutting down several Xerathians with expert precision. Commander Valmont, Valaris Relin called out over the chaos, his voice tinged with grudging respect. Our forces are ready to assist you. Good, Kai responded, inwardly surprised by the feeling of relief that washed over him. We'll need every available soldier to hold off these attacks. As the battle raged, Professor Nara Kyle worked tirelessly aboard the warship, poring over ancient texts to uncover the location of the sought-after artifact. She finally called out to Kai, her voice breaking through the cacophony of the battle. Commander Valmont, I have discovered a possible lead, Nara announced, her aloof demeanor momentarily forgotten in her excitement. We must travel to a distant, ancient planet. It is there that we may find the artifact we seek. Then let's waste no time, Kai replied, his heart pounding with anticipation. Lila, plot a course for this planet. We'll evacuate as many people as we can before we leave. Understood, Commander, Lila acknowledged, working rapidly at her console. With every moment spent evacuating the doomed world, the Devourer drew closer, consuming everything in its path. Kai knew they were racing against time, and the weight of their responsibility bore down on him. But as he looked around at his newfound allies, both human and Xerathian, he couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. Together, they would face the cosmic horror threatening their very existence, and emerge victorious. Whatever challenges we face on this ancient planet, Kai thought, his determination unwavering, we will overcome them. This alliance is our redemption, and we will not falter. The distant ancient planet loomed ominously before them as the warship's engines hummed to life. Kai Valmont stood on the bridge, shoulder to shoulder with his uneasy allies, Captain Hugo Martinez, Lieutenant Lila Gray, Commander Valaris Relin, and Xarath Torin. Their eyes were fixed on the viewscreen as they braced for the unfathomable challenges ahead. All right, everyone, Kai said, his voice firm with resolve. We've come this far together, and now we must push forward to find a way to stop the Devourer. Let's pool our expertise and develop new strategies and technology. Agreed, Commander, Valaris replied, nodding curtly. Our scientists have been researching the Devourer's physiology and may have discovered some weaknesses that can be exploited. Brilliant, Lila chimed in, her eyes alight with determination. I've already started working on some prototypes for weapons and devices that could target those vulnerabilities. Keep us updated on your progress, Lieutenant, Kai ordered. As for the rest of us, let's discuss battle plans and how to integrate our forces effectively. We need to be prepared for anything. Hours turned into days as the human and Xerathian alliance members worked tirelessly, fueled by a newfound sense of unity and purpose. They pored over every detail, conducting simulations and training exercises to perfect their tactics. All the while, the Devourer drew nearer, its relentless advance casting a shadow over their efforts. Kai, come take a look at this, Lila called out from her workbench, her voice laced with excitement. Kai approached and saw what she had been developing, a sleek, handheld weapon with an array of glowing energy cells, pulsating with an eerie light. Is this what I think it is? He asked, his eyes wide with astonishment. Indeed, Lila replied, her smile infectious. It's a weapon designed to disrupt the Devourer's energy absorption process. If our calculations are correct, it should weaken its defenses and give us an opening for a more substantial assault. Amazing work as always, Lieutenant, Kai praised, unable to hide his admiration. We'll distribute these to our front lines immediately. Commander! The voice was strained and unfamiliar, causing Kai to turn sharply. A young Xerathian soldier stood before him, trembling with fear. They have found us. The remaining Xerathian forces are attacking our base. Betrayal? Valaris seethed, his fists clenched in anger. Who among us would do such a thing? Regardless of who's responsible, we have no choice but to defend ourselves, Kai said, the gravity of the situation weighing heavily on him. Everyone, take up arms and prepare for battle. We cannot let this treachery derail our mission. As the Alliance scrambled to respond to the surprise attack, Kai's mind raced. Amidst the chaos, he knew they had to stay focused on their ultimate goal, stopping the Devourer. Their unity had brought them this far, and he refused to let fear or betrayal stand in their way. Let this be a test of our resolve, he thought, his heart pounding in his chest as he sprinted towards the oncoming threat. For together, we shall rise above it all and secure our redemption. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the desolate landscape. Kai Valmont surveyed the treacherous terrain before him, his heart heavy with the burden of leadership. Behind him, his team exchanged nervous glances, the tension palpable in the air. The weight of the world was on their shoulders, and they knew they had no choice but to succeed. Stay sharp, Valaris Relin warned, his eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. We don't know what sort of defenses the artifact's location might have. Understood, Kai acknowledged, steeling himself for the task at hand. He looked over at Captain Hugo Martinez and Lieutenant Lila Gray, both loyal comrades who had followed him through hell and back. Let's move out. As they navigated the treacherous terrain, hostile alien species seemed to emerge from every shadow, their eyes burning with rage and hunger. To make matters worse, remnants of Xerathian forces stood between them and their goal, a constant reminder of the betrayal that had brought them here. Kai, we've got company, Lila called out, her voice tense as she pointed towards a group of Xerathian soldiers blocking their path. Remember what we're fighting for, Kai thought, his resolve hardening. Our unity will be our redemption. Valaris, take the left flank with Lila, Kai ordered, his mind whirring with tactical calculations. Hugo, you're with me. We'll push through the center. Copy that, Hugo replied, gripping his weapon tightly. As they engaged the enemy, the air crackled with energy, and the sound of battle echoed through the desolate landscape. Both human and Xerathian fighters fell around them, casualties mounting as they fought tooth and nail for control of the artifact. Kai, look out, Valaris shouted, his warning barely audible over the cacophony of combat. Kai narrowly dodged a searing energy blast, his heart pounding in his chest as he continued to fight. He glimpsed Valaris and Lila working in tandem, their movements synchronized as they cut through the enemy ranks. Almost there, Kai thought, pushing himself to keep moving forward. We can't afford to fail now. As they finally reached the heavily guarded location of the artifact, a final wave of Xerathian forces stood between them and their objective. Kai clenched his fists, his steely determination fueling him as he prepared for one last push. Are we all in agreement? He asked, looking around at the determined faces of his comrades. Absolutely, Hugo replied, his voice filled with conviction. We stand together no matter what. Then let's give them everything we've got, Kai declared, his eyes blazing with resolve. With an earth-shattering roar, the Alliance charged into the fray, united in their purpose and unwavering in their determination to save their worlds from the Devourer. And as they fought side by side, the seeds of redemption began to take root, growing stronger with each passing moment. Kai's hands shook as he held the artifact, its ancient surface pulsating with an eerie glow. The energy within seemed to whisper of terrible power and untold secrets. As the dust of battle settled around them, Professor Narakail approached, her eyes wide with awe and trepidation. Remarkable, she breathed, her fingers tracing the intricate engravings etched into the artifact. According to these inscriptions, the Devourer was once a member of an advanced civilization that sought to harness the energy of the universe. They conducted a dangerous experiment, which went horribly wrong, transforming their own kind into the cosmic horror we face now. Valorous stared at the artifact, his expression unreadable. So, this thing can potentially save our worlds or destroy the Devourer. Perhaps both, Nara replied cautiously. But I fear using it may come at a great cost. A hushed silence fell over the group as they weighed the gravity of their decision. Kai could feel the weight of countless lives on his shoulders, pressing down like an unbearable burden. Then we have no choice, he said resolutely. We use the artifact to save Earth and the Xerathian homeworld. We'll deal with the consequences later. Wait. Valaris stepped forward, his voice firm. If we use the artifact for our own gain, the Devourer will only continue to consume other planets, other galaxies. We risk dooming countless more lives. Are you suggesting we let our own people die? Kai snapped, anger flaring in his chest. After everything we've been through? Kai, I understand your pain, Valaris said, his expression pained. But we must think beyond ourselves. We formed this alliance for the greater good, and if we ignore the threat to the entire galaxy, what kind of heroes are we? Kai clenched his fists, the artifact's glow casting eerie shadows across his face. His heart raced as he considered Valaris's words, torn between loyalty to his comrades and the grim reality of their situation. Time is running out, Lila urged, her voice tense. We need to decide now.
Saving our worlds means nothing if there's no galaxy left to inhabit,
Hugo added solemnly. Banishing the Devourer is the only true solution, Valaris pressed, his eyes locked on Kai's. Kai hesitated, the weight of the decision heavy upon him. As much as he wanted to save Earth and the Xerathian homeworld, he knew Valaris was right. They had an obligation beyond their own people, a responsibility to protect the entire galaxy from annihilation. All right, he said quietly, his voice cracking with the strain of his choice. We'll risk everything to banish the Devourer. Valaris nodded, the rift between them narrowing but not entirely closed. Their fragile alliance would be tested in the coming days, but for now, they were united by a shared purpose: to stop the cosmic horror that threatened to consume them all. The sky burned crimson as the Devourer's tendrils pierced Earth's atmosphere, consuming everything in their path. Screams filled the air, echoing through the smoldering ruins of what was once a thriving city. Kai's heart pounded in his chest as he and Valaris led their battered alliance in a desperate stand against the cosmic horror. Fall back! Valaris shouted over the cacophony of destruction, his voice strained with exertion. We need to regroup! But it was too late. The relentless onslaught of the Devourer's minions tore through their ranks, leaving devastation in their wake. Kai watched helplessly as Captain Hugo Martinez and several other comrades fell under the merciless advance, their bodies broken and lifeless on the scorched earth. Keep fighting! Kai roared, swinging his plasma sword in a wide arc to cleave through a group of grotesque creatures. His eyes locked with Valaris's for a brief moment, both leaders acknowledging the grim reality. They were losing. As the tide of battle turned against them, Kai felt a cold despair settle in his gut. All their sacrifices, all their struggles, had it been for nothing? Were they truly powerless against the Devourer? Kai! Valaris yelled, snapping him out of his spiraling thoughts. We need to retreat! If we don't pull back now, we'll lose everyone. Damn it, Kai hissed, clenching his jaw as he reluctantly gave the order. Everyone, fall back to the rendezvous point. We live to fight another day. The remnants of their shattered alliance retreated, leaving behind the blood-soaked battlefield, and the haunting screams of the dying. As they limped away from the carnage, Kai and Valaris found themselves alone, their shared failure weighing heavily upon them. "Was it all for nothing?" Kai whispered, his eyes downcast as he stared at the charred remains of a fallen comrade. "How can we possibly hope to stop something so monstrous?" "Kai," Valaris began, his voice softer than usual. "I know you're feeling defeated, but we must not give in to despair. We've faced impossible odds before and emerged victorious." "Have we, though?" Kai asked bitterly, his gaze still fixed on the lifeless body before him. "Every victory has come at a cost, Valaris. I don't know how much more I can bear." "None of us do," Valaris admitted, his own eyes clouded with pain. "But we must find the strength within ourselves to press forward. Our worlds depend on it." "Easy for you to say," Kai snapped, finally looking up to meet Valaris's gaze. "You haven't lost everything like I have." "Neither have you," Valaris shot back, his tone firm but not unkind. "We may be from different worlds, but our shared purpose unites us. Together, we can overcome the darkness that threatens to consume us all." Kai clenched his fists, his anger giving way to a deep, burning resolve. Despite their differences, Valaris was right. They were stronger together. If there was any chance of defeating the Devourer, it would come from their unity and determination. "All right," Kai agreed, his voice steadier now. "Let's regroup with the others and start planning our next move. We'll need every ounce of strength and cunning we possess to face this threat head-on." "Agreed," Valaris nodded, extending his hand toward Kai. As their hands clasped firmly, a renewed sense of camaraderie washed over them. Their alliance might be fragile, but it was also their greatest weapon against the cosmic horror that awaited them. "Let's make sure the Devourer's reign of terror ends with us," Kai vowed, his eyes blazing with newfound conviction. "Together," Valaris added, a grim determination settling over them both as they turned to face the uncertain future. The sun dipped behind the shattered skyline, casting eerie shadows across the ravaged streets of what was once a thriving city. Kai stood atop the crumbling remains of a building, surveying the ghostly landscape before him. He knew this might be the last time he would witness the dying light of day on Earth. "Kai," Valaris's voice crackled through the comms device in his ear. "It's time." Kai took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. He turned to see Valaris and the remnants of their alliance gathered below, their faces etched with determination and resolve. For a brief moment, Kai marveled at the unity they had managed to forge despite their differences. "All right, everyone," Kai said, his voice steady and commanding. "This is it, our final assault on the Devourer. We've come a long way, fought countless battles, and lost too many friends. But we will not let their sacrifices be in vain." Valaris stepped forward, his gaze meeting that of each person present. "We have one chance to activate the artifact and banish the Devourer for good. It won't be easy, but as long as we stand together, there's still hope." Nods of agreement rippled through the group, and a fierce determination burned in every pair of eyes. They all understood the stakes. Either they succeeded, or their worlds would be lost forever. "Remember," Kai added, the fire in his eyes matching the intensity of his words, "we're not just fighting for ourselves, but for the countless lives the Devourer has already consumed and those it seeks to destroy. This ends here, on Earth's broken soil." "Let's do this," Lieutenant Lila Gray whispered, her fingers tracing the intricate patterns on the artifact. Her engineering brilliance would be crucial in activating the ancient device. "Move out!" Valaris barked, and the Alliance sprang into action, each member taking up their positions as they prepared for the climactic battle ahead. As they advanced toward the Devourer's looming presence in the distance, Kai couldn't help but feel a swell of pride at how far they had come. The humans and Xerathians, once bitter enemies, now fought side by side, united by their shared purpose and the bonds forged in the crucible of war. "Kai," Valaris said, keeping pace beside him, "I know I've questioned your methods and your people before, but I want you to know that I'm grateful for the trust you've placed in me." "Likewise," Kai replied, his tone sincere. "Your tactical brilliance has been invaluable, and your dedication to our cause has never wavered." "Thank you," Valaris said, the faintest hint of a smile flickering across his face. "Now let's finish what we started, together." As the Alliance charged headlong into the fray, the air crackled with energy, and the deafening roar of battle erupted around them. Human and Xerathian fighters unleashed their combined might against the Devourer's monstrous forces, their unity shining like a beacon amidst the chaos. Amidst the turmoil, Kai and Valaris fought side by side, their movements fluid and synchronized, as if they had been comrades for a lifetime. Every blow struck, and every foe vanquished brought them one step closer to the heart of the Devourer, where the artifact would unleash its power and banish the cosmic horror once and for all. In the heat of the battle, Kai spared a brief moment to glance over at Valaris. Their eyes met, and a mutual understanding passed between them. No matter the outcome, their alliance and sacrifice had given birth to something greater than themselves. It was a testament to the power of unity and redemption forged in the fires of war. "Let's end this," Kai growled, his voice barely audible over the din of combat. "Agreed," Valaris replied, his eyes locked on the rapidly approaching heart of the Devourer. Together, they charged forward, the artifact held tightly in their grasp, as the fate of their worlds hung in the balance.